Okay, hello and welcome to another episode of Hiring and Inspiring, my new podcast. Today's guest is Julienne Balcos, a fellow recruiter. She has been in the industry for a couple of years. I'm looking forward to having a chat to her today for her to share a bit about her journey so far, share a bit about her wisdom and some hints and tips and tricks that she does in her work, and for us to connect it a little bit more. I know she's very passionate about what she does. She's doing really well from what I understand. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it. So, Julienne, with that introduction, welcome to the show, and how are you getting on?
Yes, thank you so much for that amazing introduction, Joe. Yeah, I'm doing really well. And having, to speak with a fellow recruiter that started his own podcast, it's amazing.
Yeah, well, you're most welcome. So to kick it off, you're down in Melbourne at the moment, right? There's some sort of a show or an exhibition. What are you up to? What are you up to in Melbourne at the moment?
Yes, so our team is down here in Melbourne, and we are exhibiting in an early childhood conference
Yeah.
for the Victorian market. So there are plenty of, suppliers and
Okay.
plenty of childcare educators that are coming down, and yeah, we're gonna meet all of them this weekend. So it's
Nice.
exciting.
So lots of sort of old school networking to be
Yes,
done, right?
that's right. And we've also got, childcare center directors and owners that we
Yeah.
can get on board.
Oh, right, exciting. So nothing quite beats, I think, face to face networking, right? Like
Hmm.
in the flesh, especially in as recruiters. Like I think we thrive when we're out in front of people. I don't know if you feel like that.
That's right. And it also, build that relationship and put a face on the name with, everyone as well in the
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, I hope you have a good time and a good weekend doing that. So if we just step back a little bit,
Mhm.
you are, correct me if I'm wrong here, 2 years into your sort of recruitment journey
Yes,
uh,
that's right.
in your current role. Yeah, cool. So how would you sort of say, how do you feel you're getting on? How would you describe your recruitment journey so far?
I would say it is a roller coaster ride because
Mm,
we've went through pandemic, we experienced lockdowns, and for me, a beginner recruiter coming here in Australia and having been able to delve into the market, it is quite hard, but also you get a really great stuff out of it. Like, I've been able to do really well with my job and be able to get to know the market really well.
yeah.
Even though there is a pandemic, I was able to surpass that challenge, I would
Mm.
say.
So you've done really well by the sound of things, as you say. What's allowed you to have success? What's been the key factors that have given you that success early on in your recruitment career?
I think just being true to myself that, I am really passionate about people, about
Okay.
connecting with people and having my, experience and like my abilities coming from a third world country because I'm from the Philippines as well. So, yeah, I think it's being able to connect with these people that we have in, the childcare industry and like the recruitment industry as well.
Yeah, it's obviously it's a people's game, right? Recruitment. It's
Mhm.
all we do is speak to people.
Yeah.
If you was to saying someone in your shoes 2 years ago, just starting out in recruitment,
Mhm.
right? What would be your advice to that person? What tips would you give, or even yourself? What would you tell
Mhm.
yourself 2 years ago that you now know? Yeah, 2 years into your journey.
I think really believing in yourself. Don't trust yourself. Don't
Okay.
doubt yourself. Just believe that you can do anything. Like anything is possible if you believe in yourself.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think another um one that I could say is just learning and
Mhm.
getting mentorship anywhere, like either in your workplace, either outside doing networking, or also people from LinkedIn. Like I do follow a lot of recruiters that are successful here in
Yeah.
Australia, and every day they post like LinkedIn posts. I get to learn a bit about everything. Like a
Mhm.
great example would be Greg Savage. I don't know if you've heard of him, but
Oh yeah, yeah. I've read his
like he's
books.
an
Yeah.
amazing, yeah, recruiter. Like every time I like
Yeah.
his LinkedIn post, I was just like, I didn't know that, but like I'm surprised to learn more from just like a LinkedIn post. And obviously Joe Cutler's post on LinkedIn, amazing stuff.
No, don't listen to that guy. um, no, you're spot on though. I think that looking for, I always say to someone, look for mentors, right, and look for people you can learn from. Something that a lot of people, including myself, you kind of always think that you're, not better than you are, or you kind of you fall into the trap and like thinking that you know everything, right? And you, you're never quite, even if you've been doing it for 10 years, there's stuff you can still learn. I think where you're going with it, I guess, is just having that mindset, like that open, just being like a sponge, right? So when you come in, if you're new to recruitment, the best people are just like, right, give it, want to learn rather than kind of close things off.
Yeah.
And just be open to learning and just be trying to, and also I think when you say believe in yourself, like it's so important to have that courage in recruitment.
Mhm.
I don't know if you agree, like, making those difficult cold calls or having those difficult conversations, they're not easy, right? But if you just back yourself, even if you don't get it quite right, it's a lot better than, if you didn't try. Don't know if you
Yeah,
agree.
it is always a learning curve. Every day is, a learning for everyone in recruitment. There's no similar days to a recruiter, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. But you enjoying it? 2 years in, you enjoying the ride and that roller coaster and the ups and downs?
Yeah, I'm still enjoying it at the
Yeah.
moment. I want to progress in my career. So I've been, working on myself, having this, as you've said, difficult conversation with clients. And, it'll lead me to a spot wherein I would progress in, let's say in like a managerial position in a
Oh,
couple of
brilliant.
years' time.
Cool. Awesome. So, in particular, your role, you focus on the childcare education
Correct.
industry.
Hmm.
What's it's not. I'll be honest. It's not an area I know too much about in terms of the recruitment and or, the general industry. What is the current sort of state of that market?
Well, I think it's pretty similar with every, industry that we have at the moment. There's, candidate short market that we have, and then we've also got these clients that are really not sold out to using agencies because, in the previous times, they don't really have to use agencies. They just post ads and they get success out of it.
Mm,
So, yeah, it is really hard at the moment, but I think for me, having been able to step back and look and think outside of the box, what can I do differently that other agencies, specifically agencies that are, part of the big group of companies that are not doing that I can, put on myself in there. So,
mm.
yeah, I have had a lot of great success stories with regards to that.
Without wanting to give away all your secrets, what are some of those things that you're doing differently?
Yes, I think I thrive in building a relationship with candidates and
Okay.
clients. So I've pretty much had amazing relationship with my candidates, which then led to referrals. And I was able to place their friends and like family members
All
in a
right.
span of like a couple weeks time.
Wow. So
Yeah.
what's your sort of process? Say you find a good candidate that you think this
Hmm.
is I can definitely help this person. To build that relationship, how do you do that? What kind of questions do you ask? Or what's your sort of how do you go about doing that, would you say?
Because I believe the first 5 seconds of, a phone screen will decide how you can get on about with your relationship with your candidates and
Yeah.
even your clients. So I think being able to connect with them within those first 5 seconds, have, have a chat with them and really listen. Because we know in the recruitment industry, all recruiters, we just talk and everyone knows that. But if you listen to what the candidate wants, to what the client wants, you're gonna get, their sympathy. They're gonna be able to say to you, yes, this recruiter, she listens. So they're gonna be able to trust you. So having that trust is really important.
Yeah. You definitely lose that credibility if you don't listen, I think. Like if they sort of tell you, if a candidate tells you I'm looking for this type of job and you go, okay, cool. And then you say present them with a
Yeah.
job that's totally different. They've just gone, you haven't listened to me. And then they probably won't pick up your phone call again. Um, what sort of what areas of the job do you enjoy most? What are you in maybe not so much?
I think I would say I enjoy talking to different people, candidates, clients, and being able to know their needs, their requirements with what they have in their role. And I think at the moment, I'm really struggling to do business development, but we all know that in this market, you need to, branch out. You can't just do like recruiting candidates. You can't just stay stagnant in whatever roles, in whatever clients
Mm.
that you have. You need to get more clients in order for you to build your pipeline. So I'm really trying my best to have that really difficult conversations with new clients and being able to, offer them what we have and justifying why we charge those fees. But yeah,
Mm.
it's gonna be, a long way.
Is that something that's maybe challenging for yourself? Those tough sort of negotiations, those when you're maybe on the fees you discussed there.
Initially, yes, but as as I learn and as I grow in, this market, I was able to, have
Yeah,
those difficult conversations and be able to back myself up. That's really
nice.
important. Back yourself up. What do you have? What kind of, experience? Give numbers and everything.
Mm.
And yeah, just believe in yourself.
It's all, yeah, it's all practice as well. Like I remember that, the first sort of negotiation you have is always terrible. Like
Hmm.
and then just the more you do it, it is quite simple. The better you get at negotiation for sure.
Hmm.
Just picking up on something that's on your LinkedIn profile,
Yeah.
I noticed you mentioned I could get this wrong, but a believer of passion towards work is a path to success. What did you mean by that?
I think for me, being able to, love what you do, you're gonna
Yeah.
be successful in everything. Because if you don't love what you do, you're just gonna go in there. Yep, you're gonna get, a salary, but then you don't enjoy what you do. But for me, every single day that I come into the office, that I show up, I really love what I do. There's no question. I really
Mm.
love recruitment. I am really passionate about people and, the childcare industry. So yeah, I think, having been able to have that mindset makes me, a successful recruiter and it brings me to where I am today.
Yeah. So something that I think about this a lot is like, did you like were you passionate about
Hmm.
what you do before you did it? So did you like, right, I'm really passionate about recruitment, working in sales, and the space, the childcare space. So you went and worked in that,
Hmm.
or did you sort of just end up working there and
Hmm.
then find out that you were passionate about it?
Yeah, so
Does
I
that make sense?
really like it. Initially, I had my bachelor's in human resource. I've already planned it out at the age of 18. I'm gonna get my
Wow.
bachelor's degree. I'm gonna get my master's at the age of 21, 22, and I'm gonna go into recruitment. My first job back in the Philippines, I work in a construction industry, and I really love how I connect with, different people in the construction industry. And when I moved here, I was like, yep, I really wanted to get into construction,
Okay.
but I really had, an amazing opportunity to work in the childcare industry. Still, it's in recruitment, and I get to love what I do, and I get to know a little bit better the childcare industry and the education
Mm.
industry in general. But yeah, 5 years ago, it was already my plan.
How did you know that though? Like, how did you know at 18 years old, like, I want to work in recruitment?
I think being able to, have that mindset of what I want to take in terms of career path, because we had all these job fairs in uni back in the Philippines, wherein
Okay.
there's a lot of recruiters, and I was like, oh, it is really interesting to have that kind of work wherein they would just talk to people and being able to connect, being able to help those people. I'm like, I really want to be in that spot, like in the next five
Mm.
years. So I made a plan. I talked to my parents,
Yeah.
having been able to secure like a scholarship in Macquarie University. So yeah, that just makes me really, I feel really amazing.
Yeah. You've made a plan, you stuck to it, and you've achieved
Yeah.
it, and yeah, I
Hmm.
love it.
And stick to it.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's something I think like I am really passionate about recruitment. I love it, but I wasn't always. I didn't.
Hmm.
I just sort of when I first started working, I just got a job in recruitment. I didn't even know what it was, and then when I started doing it, I was like, oh, I love this. So it's interesting how yeah, it's different. I don't know. It's interesting how people sort of yeah end up sort of I don't know. I'm always thinking about is like, do you like follow your passion or do you find your passion? Um, do you know what I mean by that? Like, so I
Yeah.
always think like if you follow your passion, you might not always be that good at it. You might be passionate about it, but you might not always be that good at it. I don't know.
Yeah, there's always pros and cons because, following your passion doesn't actually, it might not give you the results that you want. Like, there are people that are really passionate in the music industry, but it doesn't really pay well. So they were
Yeah,
like, should I follow my passion or should I just, stick to what's available?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. You touched on a few times your background growing up in the Philippines.
Hmm.
How do you feel that has sort of, I guess, affected or impacted who you are today?
I think growing up in a third world country, having been able to, experience difficulties growing up, it has shaped me to be the person who I am today. I became very resilient, very independent, moving into a new country at the age of 20.
Mm,
So yeah, it does really impact how you look and view life in general. If you've had, those difficulties and how you conquer them, I think that's what makes me who I am today, being able to have that mindset that don't give up. Like, you just have to do what you have to do, and then you're going to be successful at what you do
yeah.
in the long run.
Is it, I guess, almost gives you a bit of sort of gratefulness, like
Hmm.
what you have, right? Because if you know that some people may not always have
Hmm.
what you have back home, right?
Yeah, and you don't
You've
take
sort of
everything for granted, that's
for
for sure.
sure, yeah, for sure. And life in Australia, since you've moved here, how do you find it? Say compared to back home.
Hmm. Oh, amazing. It is totally different, like
Mm,
a shift in lifestyle, I would say. But yeah, I am really adaptable to, whatever areas I'm in. So I think it doesn't really affect me as much, but I think I would say culture differences affected me a little bit. So I had to kind of just like, learn a little bit about the Aussie culture.
mm. Yeah. What did you learn? What were the main things that jumped out at you?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but Aussies love to drink, and
Mm,
Filipinos, we do, but not so much during the
mm,
day.
mm, mm. Yeah, for sure. Um, Yeah, no, all makes sense. Thanks for running through that. Just a couple more things to run through. So, what do you sort of feel the future holds for yourself? You touched upon, in your current role, you're maybe looking to progress into management. When do you see that, or what's the sort of the process in the next maybe the next few years? What do the next few
Mhm.
years look like for
Yeah,
yourself
I
in your career?
think
Do you think?
every day I am, kind of like learning, kind of like wanting to, progress into my professional career. So, I am building those steps, and I'm taking, every thing really cautiously in order for me to get where I want to be, let's say in the next 2 years. So, yeah, I think being able to have that difficult conversations with everyone would help me,
Yeah.
to reach, a management position in the long run. Because I think with management position, it's not about reaching targets, it's not about placing candidates, it's about having been able to deal with difficult conversations along the way, and how you manage your emotions as well.
Mm.
It's really important.
You've been in like difficult conversations internally, like with other staff members.
Yes, and I would say externally as well, both.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, that once you, I always think once you start having those difficult conversations, like, or when you start or being able to ask those sort of difficult questions, that's
Mhm.
when you actually start leveling up in recruitment. Like when you can sort of push back or ask that, or have that tough negotiation. If
Mhm.
you, when you don't give in, right, that's when you start getting, yeah, really start leveling up. Moving forward, this is sort of just a little final question for me. It's something I tend to ask
Yeah.
people on this show. The sort of the topic of, and it's around success, right? So to yourself, Julian, what does, and you can take this any which way you like,
Yeah.
personally, professionally, whatever, what does success mean to you?
Success. I think if you step back and think about what is success, it is a subjective concept that can mean different things to different people, right? But I think for me, success is being able to achieve a goal, and you get the desired outcomes that you want. But in order for you to be successful, you have to overcome obstacles. You
Mm,
have to make progress. You have to have that sense of achievement in overcoming those obstacles, right? But yeah, I would say success for me, professional, personal, it constitutes me as a person that maybe I would say financially, because I live in a third world country. So if I'm earning a lot, or like if I'm, having um, been able to reach my savings goal, then I can be successful. But that also doesn't mean that I'm successful financially, that I'm successful if I have that financial goals. It's also like personal goals, like what do I really want to achieve, personal
mm.
and professional.
So it's more about sticking to a target, sticking to a plan, setting a goal, and hitting it. But it's not, those goals don't just have to be They don't have this to be, financial. Julienne, thank you very much for joining me on the show. Really enjoyed the chat. Thank you for sharing, your journey and your insights. You're doing some really good stuff out there, I think, and yeah, wish you all the best in the rest of your recruitment journey and your career. Enjoy the expedition down in Melbourne as well. Really good to chat to you. See you later on. Cheers.